Welcome back, everyone. I'm joined by the assistant sports editor for the Telegram and Gazette and Home Team Magazine, Jim Wilson. And now we are getting further and further into the playoffs, fewer and fewer playoff games week to week.
More important.
But they are more important. The stakes raise. Everything gets a little bit bigger. We're going to start in Division 6. We haven't been able to talk a lot about Division 6
We're
during
just terrible at time management. That's what it comes down to.
We're not good at time management. And realistically, there wasn't many teams that you looked at every week. Blackstone Valley Tech. Okay, you didn't say, okay, they're really going to be tested this week. You looked at Littleton. Not many games they were going to be tested. So now you're looking at games and saying, okay, Maynard, Blackstone Valley Tech, this is a great test for Blackstone Valley Tech. This is a Maynard team that Billy and some of the guys that have been watching games down there in Maynard since the 60s say they'll put this team up there with 86 and 91. They think those were two of the best teams ever in Maynard history. This one's a very good team. Right. They took Littleton into overtime, so they know they can hang with anyone. They got a real tough team, though, with Ben Refarth and just what Jim Archibald's done at Blackstone Valley Tech. It's not even as much about schemes and about weight room work. It's about a whole mentality and a swagger and a winning attitude and just a physical toughness that they bring to the table, because it all starts with Archie.
That's right. They've been a great job there for years. They're one of those teams that no matter what they graduate, they're going to come in and they're going to find the players that can be competitive in the Colonial League Division 6 again. I mean, look at what Ben Refarth has done for that team. He's one of the best players in the state. I don't care where you are, Central Mass, who you play. Yep. He can play at any team in Central Mass, and he's going to be a productive player for them. I mean, Andrew Carroll last week had a phenomenal game at quarterback. He's going to find the players, and him and Refarth have done really well together. I think they're going to give Maynard a lot. I think Maynard, like you said, they're one of the best teams in years.
Right.
I think they're up for it this year. This is going to be a real tough game for both teams.
Well, and what they have to do, if you're Maynard defensively, what you have to do is you have to prepare for so many elements on offense. Because first of all, Blackstone Valley Tech, they want to smash you in the mouth right off the bat. They want to establish dominance up front on the line and win that board drill, win those one-on-one battles and push you backwards. Then when they do that, then they go play action off of that. Now you have your safeties and linebackers coming up on the snap of the football. Their wide receivers get behind you. Kara throws a great ball, has a great touch, and Jim Archibald still, remember, came from Northbridge. Even though he's so physical, he loves to throw the football still, loves that wide open offense. He learned a lot from Ken LaChapelle, not afraid to throw deep. He's got Kara, he's got Refarth, he's got the weapons. They'll hit you deep. Now all of a sudden you start bringing guys out of the box. Right. Their safeties start staying back. Linebackers maybe start shifting. You want to bump some guys at the line of scrimmage. Then they're just going to bury you with the run.
That's the problem. And that's what Valley Tech's got to look for, because their good games came early in the season. And the way the schedule was, I think they had the medal early on. Right. So they got to all of a sudden just shift suddenly into important games again. And they've proven over the last couple of years they've been able to do that. Maynard's come on. You mentioned the loss to Littleton, but they played with them. It was like a 30-28 game.
Yeah, and it was overtime.
It was overtime. So I think Maynard has been doing really well. We talked about them a couple weeks ago, how impressive they've been. And I think the four teams in the Division 6 playoffs are the teams I thought would be in the beginning of the year. Because I think you look at what Maynard's done with Ugovich and Peterson and Brian Kiley. They've had a great running back. You don't know who to stop, because in the last couple of weeks, one of those guys has been the man in the backfield. And I think Valley Tech should have their hands full trying to stop those guys.
And Maynard's back to the orange and black of the days of 86, 91, when they were just physical. And every time you played a Maynard team, you knew you had to bring your lunch pail, because you knew you were going to win for a physical game, that there was going to be a lot of head banging going on, and you might need some aspirin when it's over because you were playing a physical team. Maynard's back to that style where they want to smash you in the mouth. They want to establish dominance, and they want people to know that they played the Maynard Tigers the next day when they wake up and go to lift their arms up and their shoulders are sore, their necks are a little sore. They want that Maynard, that mantra almost of hitting and toughness, and I think it's back with Maynard.
And it could be a game where offenses but both teams are averaging 37 points a game. So it comes to the point you look at guys like Alex Martinek from Maynard, what he can do to sort of shut down some of those offensive weapons. He's going to be in the Carroll's face all game. What can Valley Tech do to answer that?
St. Bernard's and Littleton is the other Division 6 semifinal game. Littleton, has that great winning streak going. One thing about this Littleton team, and we've talked about them a couple times during this Frenzy Extra, they've lost, year to year. Last year, they graduated a ton of talent on that Super Bowl championship team. Now they come back, new faces. But you know what? That winning attitude picks right back up. They have poise, and that's the one thing I saw from this Littleton team. When they played Maynard, they beat them in overtime. It was at Maynard. Maynard was all hyped up for it. They had the whole town out there. Littleton, to me, showed a lot of poise, showed the heart of a champion, and, boy, they have a lot of talent as well.
Littleton has a lot of been-there-before mentality. Yep. I think they look at their big games to them. They got the sledgehammer. They're no problem. They know what to expect. They lost to Lunenburg a couple weeks ago. Was they bounced back really well. Heading into the playoffs, it's probably not the game they wanted to have. They came by, they answered the call pretty well against West Boylston last week with no visible problems. You come in there, you got Connor Bassett throwing the ball. He can run the ball as well. I think he's just a great weapon for him at quarterback. A guy that came in, they didn't know what to expect when they put him under center. And for Travis, I think he's answered a lot. Elijah Pyram is another guy that's going to give St. Bernard's fits. It should be a great game to see what they have in store.
And then when you look at St. Bernard's, you're looking at a team too that offensively has done a lot this year, and in a team that can throw, they can run, they'll mix it up as well. So defensively, if you're trying to defend this St. Bernard's team, you have to be ready for multiple sets. You have to be ready for multiple attack points. And so I think for Littleton defensively, right now this week, they're preparing for a lot. And that's one of the things that St. Bernard's does so well is that they make you prepare for so much. Their foundation's the run, and then they're going to go for play action pass. But they can also get out of the shotgun. They can throw 4 wides at you. They can go vertical. They can go to the straight pro-style pass game as well. But their bread and butter is to run, and then hit you with that play action pass and short passes, yards after catch.
Right. And I think St. Bernard's with Adam Hyde is a 1,000-yard rusher. He's going to give them problems. I think Zach Merchant can do a little bit of everything for that team. He's been another guy that I look at so it should be a good test for St. Bernard's, who needs that signature win in the playoffs. I mean, look at what was happening last week and some of those upsets. You call them upsets, but they're really not. I mean, you look at those games, and this doesn't matter what seed you are. It's if you win these games, nobody's talking about that anymore.
Right, and if you're an underdog at this position here in the playoffs, trick plays. You may throw caution to the wind. You may throw a couple trick plays in there because it only takes 1 or 2 big plays. Now you're playing with a lead. Now it's a much different football game. And then maybe the favorite gets a little tight, so you never know. Division 5, Tingsboro, Northbridge. It's a rematch from 2 weeks ago. Northbridge won that game 42-19. You look at this Northbridge team, absolutely rolling this year. So talented, so confident, so many weapons. If you're Tingsboro, how do you stop this Northbridge attack? 3 different players scored in the game in the first quarter. 3 different players scored against Tingsboro 2 weeks ago. And Kobe Schofer wasn't even one of them. And he's probably the best athlete on this field, throwing the ball, running the ball, defensively. But what are you going to do with Jake Wood and Rob Frazier and Chandler Brooks? You cannot stop all these weapons.
They're all juniors. Imagine what they could be like next year.
It's crazy. How do you do it? If you're Tingsboro, how do you do it? Outside of putting 14, 15 guys on the field, which you can't do.
Well, that's what it comes down to, because like you said, it was last week, or 2 weeks ago rather, Tingsboro get handled by Northbridge. It's what did they learn? You come back, some of this is the advantage of having these rematches in the playoffs. I mean, we saw last week a couple of rematches ended, different ways than the first game was. So I think, what does Tingsboro learn on the tape? What can they sort of exploit, if there's anything? Right. To be honest, I think Northbridge is too good. I don't think there's anything they really can, even if they find a hole, I don't think there's anything that Tingsboro's going to do to scare Northbridge. But they have to be ready for it.
And Northbridge is another team, maybe best of any of the teams that we've spoken about right now, in terms of can throw the ball, can run the ball, because their mantra, and Ken LaChapelle has always been this way. We want to throw the ball. He doesn't even want to run the football. Last year they ran a lot. This year they're running a lot too. But it's because he's using his weapons so effectively. He has a kid like Jake Wood. He knows teams already at the snap of the football. Generally, when you're playing Northbridge, you're thinking pass. So snap of the football, your linebackers, your safeties, your cornerbacks are starting to get deep, starting to get depth, looking at what's in front of them, who's coming at them. Now you run a guy like Jake Wood. Well, he's got a 5-yard, 8-yard head start now because you're backing up. Now they do that a couple times, bang, they can hit you on the play action, they can hit you on the straight passes. Then, if you're going to try to play man cover or you're going to put safeties over the top, these guys are flying out to get depth because these receivers are so fast. So they just wait 1-2, Kobe Schofer on a quarterback draw, and you can't catch him. He'll go 60 yards untouched.
Right.
They're that good.
That's why I think Kenny said in the paper, Mike Richards' column, when he was previewing the Division 5 playoffs, they're a team you have to defend sideline to sideline, which is probably the most dangerous Northbridge team you can get. Because if you want to focus on Schofer, that's fine, and then you worry about, like you said, all those other 8 guys that can find the end zone. And that's just a dangerous team.
It's crazy. It's a Swiss Army knife because everyone's a weapon. You just keep peeling guys off, different numbers, different names. They're all weapons. Bartlett and Uxbridge, rematch from a couple weeks ago. Bartlett won this game. We've talked about this. When Givens is in the ball game for Bartlett, much different team, very tough team. They got that huge offensive line. They're going to push people. They got Neil Flanagan, one of the best all-around football players, just football player, whether he's at tight end, whether he's at linebacker in Central Mass.
And I think Bartlett last week, we talked about him early in the season, You didn't have that signature win, something to hang their hat on so people talk about them. Auburn game was. I've had a feeling with the way Givens was playing, if he's healthy and he's playing for the game 100%, they're going to give Auburn all they can handle. They end up winning in overtime. It's a huge program win for that team. They're going to look at that. That's what they wanted to have going to the playoffs. I don't think, I think they know facing Uxbridge a couple weeks ago and coming away with that win helps them. They're playing with a lot of confidence right now because, like you said, they have the weapons. They have a great line, one of those most underrated lines in Central Mass. I think they're going to, give Uxbridge, a team that's struggling to have, I think they've scored 1 touchdown in the last 3 games in each game. Right. I think that's to be tough because they're looking for answers too because they know they're not going to beat Northbridge or Bartlett 7-0.
And special teams-wise, too. Bartlett's so dangerous on kickoffs and punt returns. So dangerous. So if your offense isn't moving the ball that well and you're punting from your own end, that's a tough position to be in against Bartlett with their return men because they're just so good. Division 4 now. Shepherd Hill and Grafton, rematch of a game earlier in the season. Shepherd Hill won 45-6 on October the 3rd. Shepherd Hill's healthy. They're a team that realistically could play in Division 2 and be right in that Final Four mix and probably be in the championship game. They're that good. We've talked about them. They're a Division 1 line. And then you got the guys like Drew-Jean Guillaume and the running backs. I mean, this is such a tough team to slow, just not stop, just slow down.
I like Grafton, what they've been doing the last couple weeks with guys like Diaz and Ben Cadron and Milton Fowle and all those guys. They played well, but 45-6 is a tough game to come back and fix what was wrong in that first game. I don't know if they can match up with Shepherd Hill. Even the Shepherd Hill one that's been the last couple weeks, their offense came alive against Groton Dunstable in the second half. It was scoreless at halftime. They went to the locker room, and I'm sure the Gordon's Fisherman outfit came off, and he was like, "This is what's wrong. We got to fix this up." And that's what happened in the second half. And they found what was wrong, and their offense got on track, and it was move on to the next round. I think they're looking to do the same thing they did against Grafton the first time and use Ravenel and John Guillaume and all those guys and just try to find the end zone as much as possible and get this one going and look towards the finals.
Yeah, and it's been a great season, as you mentioned. Great season for Grafton. The biggest, I think, obstacle for Grafton is going to be, do they have enough depth to keep going at this powerful attack, and an attack where you're giving away 40, 60, maybe 80 pounds a man, and after a while that's going to wear on you. Do you have enough depth to keep rotating guys in and try to move them around, whether it's stunting, twisting, slanting, to try to create some havoc defensively? Now, Doherty, St. Peter Marion, there's going to be a lot of talk back and forth about this one. Of course, this is a rematch October 24th.
Avoid the buses on the way out.
St. Peter Marion won 13-6. There's going to be no shortage. This is almost Miami in terms of the 80s with the talk that's going to go back and forth between the kids on this one. But it's a revenge game for Doherty. For St. Peter Marion, it's, okay, we beat them a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Now we have to do it again.
Right, and they're going to come back. The St. Peter Marion is playing really well the last couple weeks. I mean, I don't think the 40-0 win over North, that's a huge win for them because North is a good team. And, and so I think having St. Peter Marion playing with that kind of confidence level, and like you said, they have that win over Doherty. They know they can do it. It's, I think St. Peter Marion's gonna be tough to stop. I think, but on the other hand, Doherty coming back, they showed a lot last week. I think they got into a big hole against a Holy Name.
Yeah, they did.
And then all of a sudden, Jakari Carpenter turned on Madden mode and started just going beast and just finding the end zone. He just carried that team. He willed the team to a win in the playoffs. That was big. So I mean, I think even if St. Peter Marion gets up early on this game, they got to worry because if St. Peter Marion gets complacent, Doherty comes right back. And Doherty did show a lot of character with that. All right, we got about 30 seconds. Shrewsbury, Leominster, Fitchburg, Wachusett. Very quickly, who do you like? You like Fitchburg? I think Fitchburg's playing really well right now, and I wish we had more time to talk about that win over St. John's because we've talked about Fitchburg all year being better than the record indicates. They're playing really good football right now. I think we can get the Thanksgiving matchup twice in a row with Leominster and Fitchburg. For the playoffs in Western Mass. And
we'll see how people like that. Fitchburg, Leominster a week before Thanksgiving, and then Fitchburg, Leominster on Thanksgiving.
This is why we need the Frenzy pre-show.
We are out of time. For Jim Wilson, I'm Kevin Shea. We'll take a time out and be back with plenty more of the Frenzy Extra right after this.